Welcome to hell. At least, it will be for me during this challenge. Like the 2016 version of Doom, Doom Eternal has a variety of weapons to choose from. These weapons can range from hard hitters like the rocket launchers or the BFG, or to the smaller firepower of the assault rifle and combat shotgun. The last gun is something I want to focus on, as it is the starter weapon for the Doom Slayer in this game. I would like to preface the rest of this video by saying that I have completed the 2016 version of Doom with only the starter pistol, so I am able to decently compare between the two games' starter weapons. With that being said, let's list off the rules for this challenge. I will be playing on the easiest difficulty. The enemies in this game become greater in number and start to have an extremely large health pool as the game progresses. I want to minimize the amount of time and broken controllers it will take me to get through this game so that I can try and get it out before Christmas time, and if not, very early on in the new year. Rule number 2. I can only use the combat shotgun, so the starting weapon that they give me in this game. I know there are mods or different ways to get the Doom 2016 pistol into the game, but that was a lot of effort and a lot of work, and I did not want to be bothered by modding the game and always making sure that when I'm recording, I have to patch it in somehow. With this being a starter weapon only run, there are a couple caveats to this. The main one being I will have to do certain things that take away the ability for me to use the combat shotgun to kill enemies. These are usually tutorial sections, but they do come up, and rather than me mention every time it happens, I just want to have a blanket statement here saying that they do happen, and I won't mention them throughout the video, or at least I won't mention a lot of them throughout the video. There is a dash in this game as well. It technically does do damage as I use it to jet away from some enemies, and I know that it does possibly kill some of the weaker ones, but I'm not going to really count it as broken rule because it happens so infrequently and I mainly use it to get away from very sticky situations. Finally, the shotgun does not have unlimited ammo like the pistol did in the 2016 version of the game. In order for me to get further than the first couple of levels in this challenge, I will need to use the chainsaw to get some more ammo by gutting open a few of the enemies and using them as piñatas. I have made a compromise, however. I am only able to use the chainsaw when I am out of ammo, and I'm mainly only going to be using it on the smaller fodder enemies in order to just resupply my ammo so I can get rid of a lot of the bigger guys. And rule number 3, no glory kills, except for the first part of the game when they give you the glory kill tutorial. The one key feature from the Doom Remastered games is the fact that you can get to an enemy that is low enough health and is blinking a different color and do a very graphic animation for a finisher. This also gives you extra health, it gives you different bits of armor, possibly some more ammo, but it is very beneficial to do, especially by taking out a lot of the bigger enemies. I've decided to not allow this part of the game because I think that it would be more fun and challenging, and I might also hate myself, but that's beside the point. With the rules out of the way, we have just a few more bits of intro to get through. I'm going to compare the differences between the two starting weapons in both Bethesda Doom games. This won't necessarily be a pro and con list, just a couple of comparisons between the starting pistol in 2016 and the combat shotgun for Doom Eternal here. Like I said before, the pistol had unlimited ammo while the shotgun is limited to its ammo capacity but goes up with different ammo upgrades as the rest of your weapons would. There's a point for the pistol there, but a major upgrade with the shotgun is the grenade attachment compared to the charge shot from 2016. You get the grenade relatively early in the game. This has an AoE damage splash zone that is able to hit more enemies depending on where you shoot, and has the chance to break enemy weak points, which is a new feature in Doom Eternal. While 2016 didn't have the weak point system like Doom Eternal does, the pistol still took a long time to charge up a shot and shoot it off, while the shotgun grenade is relatively quick and the reload for it is also faster than the charge up. And with the combat shotgun, you're able to get a mastery challenge with the splash zone for the grenade, meaning that you get to fire off more shots before you have to reload. The pistol just gave you a faster charge time, but other than that, it was still one shot for every X amount of seconds compared to the shotguns. This makes the downside for not having infinite ammo for the Doom Eternal shotgun in comparison with the pistol better. So in my eyes, the best starting weapon out of these two Doom games is the combat shotgun, only for its explosive shot. The fact that you can also trade it out for its multi-shot, its rapid fire, semi-automatic if you will, is kind of a moot point because I didn't use it for the challenge, but it does have its niche cases in comparison to the pistol. Now, All of that intro background stuff is out of the way. It is time to start the challenge. We start off the game by being teleported into a random hangar-looking thing with a few enemies around. Thankfully, my perfect aim got rid of them in no time flat. I am then given the glory kill demonstration tutorial. Technically, the run ends here, but because this is kind of a mandatory section and I might have been able to skip past it if I was smarter, we're just going to keep going like it didn't happen. The other tutorial sections are pretty hard to avoid, but I may talk about them when we get to them if it's relevant to what's going on. I continue down the hall and am gifted a wonderful chainsaw. Like I said in the intro section, I will only use this tool when I run out of ammo, can no longer fire my shotgun, and I will only use it on the weakest enemies possible, therefore not detracting from the challenge as much as possible. When I mentioned the tutorial section earlier and what I would show, this is what it is here. Every time I get new equipment, it takes me to a fancy room with some enemies, takes away my ability to use or kill with the shotgun, and I have to do the fancy equipment that they just gave me. I won't talk about it anymore other than this section, but I wanted to show you guys what I meant about the tutorial taking away my control to use the shotgun. After doing the tutorial and a bit of platforming, I find the best thing to ever happen to the Doomslayer in this game, a weapon modification station. I'm given the option of the sticky bomb or multi-shot for my shotgun, and I easily pick the sticky bomb option. The bomb is superior, I talked about it before, and if you're going to disagree with me down in the comments, I won't read them. I mean, I might, but I won't respond to them, but you will never know because they will not have been messed with by me. After getting this weapon mod, we are greeted with our first of many, as I call them, kill rooms. These kill rooms are just big areas where a bunch of demons spawn, and in order to progress, we have to kill all of the demons in that area. Most of the time, it's just the larger demons, but there are some times where you have to kill the smaller guys. It just kind of depends on room to room and doesn't necessarily matter, but I won't really be talking about them much because I don't want to say I go down a hallway and here's a kill room, and then I go down another hallway, do some platforming, here's a kill room. I will just mention that kill rooms happen, and if they are important enough to bring up down the road, I will, but just know that platforming, movement, and kill rooms are a big thing that happen in this game. With the kill room completed, we are now told that our princess is in another castle. Unfortunately, instead of a toad telling us this, we find one of our older looking bullies telling us this. Doom Guy really hasn't figured out how to regulate his emotions yet, as he's kind of going to therapy for that, so he lashes out in anger instead of in a healthier way because he's still in the process of healing. Attempting to get away from his lapse in judgment, he jumps out of a window and falls into Ohio? Wherever he landed, he needs to fight his way through the damned and get back to his home where he can relax after having such a long, hard day. I want to point out these Arachnotrons for a moment. They are very fast, but thanks to the sticky bombs, we can blow up their weird cannon arms that they have at the tops of their heads, and kind of make them more manageable, more short range rather than long range. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because we have to blow up about 25 of these cannons with sticky bombs to get the mastery medal for the shotgun gun mod, allowing us to shoot more than just 3 sticky bombs at a time. I won't really bring up how many we've broken, but when we get to the point where we've mastered it, I will mention it there, and it is very helpful when we get it. During another kill room, I found this 1-up guy. This is a big change compared to the 2016 version of Doom. Rather than hitting a game over when you run out of health, you use up one of your extra lives that you have banked throughout the playthrough, and can continue on playing. Only after you run out of health on your final guy do you actually game over and have to retry from the last checkpoint. With me only being able to use the shotgun, these came in very handy when I had them on hand. A handful of kill rooms later, and I can walk through the magic red goo and into a fancy room filled with the remainder of my high school bullies. They realized that they peaked in high school while I've been hitting the gym every day for the last 7 years, so all they could do is yell at me and tell me how horrible I am, knowing that if they lay a hand on me, they will become monoplegic. If you don't understand what that means, it is on screen. Feel free to Google it. However, my therapist shows up just in time to attempt to talk me down from my rebuilding rampage after the first guy, being forced to relive the worst months of my life. As a side note, I was shortly homeschooled after the incident. To finish off level 1, we are given a new power-up. With my small pile of bullets I can cram into my shotgun, I decided I need to increase that pile by just a few more. So I opted to increase my ammo capacity instead of my shield or armor. I will continue pumping points into the ammo holders until it is maxed, as I want to use my shotgun more and the chainsaw less. At this point in the game, we're all set up with the prep work. We've talked about the rules, we've compared the two weapons, we kind of a brief concept of what's going on with kill rooms, movement, platforming, etc. So I'm really only going to be talking about newer things that come up or random bits of information that I found funny or that I wanted to bring to your attention while doing this playthrough. That way you don't hear me saying all the time, here's a kill room, I walked down this hallway, did some platforming, etc, etc. And I kind of want to try and keep this video on the shorter end because I'm running out of time and want it out before the end of the year. Fingers crossed that happens. But if you want to see how the full run went, feel free to check out the VOD playlist that I have for this challenge in particular, and I will also be linking it at the end of the video with its own little playlist button. Anyways, now it's time to talk about runes. Thankfully, in this game, compared to 2016, you don't have to do a gun-related challenge to acquire them, so whenever I find them, I can pick them up and use them immediately, and that is going to be very beneficial. For the first rune I picked, I decided to get one that lets me slow down time once per kill room when my health gets relatively low. This didn't come up too often, but when it did, it was very nice to be able to kill a couple of demons, pick up their health drops before the onslaught of craziness picked back up after the time slowdown. A little while later, I'm haunted by my first major mistake of the run. I run out of ammo. I genuinely, at the time, didn't realize that this could happen. I thought that there was always going to be some little enemies walking around that I could use my chainsaw on and open them up like fun piñatas. I was incorrect. So while I ran out of ammo, I had to change up my game plan just a little bit. Do I chalk this up as a loss and end the video? I could, but I messed up, so we're going to reload and try again. What I decided to do, instead of just shooting off my grenades at every enemy, is pick off the bigger enemies first, the ones that I can't easily cut out with one charge of chainsaw. And that's kind of the game plan that I followed for the entire challenge run after this point here, rather than just exploding everything, save the smaller guys for the chainsaw, and do my best to kill the big guys. After this realization, we find the last mobility aid of the run, which is the dash that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. There isn't much to say about this other than that this is the best feeling fluidity that I've experienced in the Doom series. I didn't really play the original games or anything before the 2016 remaster, but comparing the two, this is how Doom Guy feels like he should be. Very fluid movement, very fluid motion. It's after getting the dash, you think everything's gonna be hunky-dory, right? Start playing the Sonic music. Unfortunately, we're thrown into this weird purple goo section where the dash doesn't work and you can't really jump. Not to mention that in this gross purple goo, we have a bunch of random floor tentacles that come up and just want to give me a hug when I get too close. When I finally wash off whatever that was, I find a big battery to power the Iron Man looking blaster stuck in the ground. Too bad I'm only allowed to use the shotgun in this run, otherwise these demons would be disintegrated before our very eyes. Troubles don't stop there, however. I then have to get another giant battery for this fun laser sword that I'm not even able to hold. Not because some people say it's too big, but because it's just a bit awkward to carry if I had it sitting around in my back pocket. After having a conversation with one of our brothers from the war, he tells us that we should just forgive our bullies and stop our tirade. I don't really know what I said in response, but it couldn't have been any good because after we just kind of start walking away, he doesn't try and stop us and just lets us keep going. After our fun heart-to-heart talk with our bro, we hop back to our ship and we're able to track the next bully as them being somewhere on Earth. So we're finally given the Google Maps pin directions and we just type it into our spaceship and hop into our teleporter. Before we hop through the teleporter, there's a few housekeeping things that we have to do. We upgrade our sticky bombs because we have enough weapon points to fully max it out and then start on the mastery challenge. I also picked up a suit upgrade token. These are helpful, giving you different types of benefits that are similar to runes. However, they don't have to be equipped, they only need to be unlocked. There are a couple of important upgrades for the run, but for now, I picked up the reduced radiation damage perk and continued into the portal to hunt bully number 2. After jumping through the teleporter, we're given these fun platforming sections where we have to hit buttons with our guns in order to open gates. The gates close after a certain amount of time, so you have to make sure that you open them up and dash accordingly. Unfortunately, during this part of the run, I ran out of ammo on a very important section. I tried shooting my grenade with it a couple of times, grenade just couldn't reach it, so I instead had to switch over to a different gun. I'm counting this as not a technical fail because I did not shoot any demons with this gun. I was purely using it for traversal purposes. If this counts as a loss in your book, then end the video here. Have a wonderful day, great new year, and I will catch you all next time. If this does not count as a loss in your eyes, feel free to keep watching and let me know what else I messed up down in the comments. After the fun traversal, I got my second rune. This one makes enemies stay staggered for longer, and for a challenge that doesn't allow glory kills, it might seem slightly counterintuitive, so let me try and explain it the best that I can. When enemies get put into a staggered state, they are currently not a threat in the combat. They are also at their weakest point when they're staggered. 1 or 2 good shots while they are in this state will finish them off for good. With that long-winded explanation out of the way, the next stop on our journey of self-help is walking a mile in somebody else's shoes. Somehow, I find a contraption that allows me to control one of the revenants that have been torturing me for this run. The end goal for this is having them collect the super shotgun that I lost down a well somewhere. After being gifted it and picking it up from their cold dead hands, I considered sparing their life for approximately 0 seconds, then immediately decided against it and blew their brains out. However, I had another dilemma: continue using my combat shotgun or switch over to the super shotgun. This thought took more than 0 seconds, but I decided that I didn't need the super shotgun and threw it down another well. Hopefully it never shows its face again. Somewhere along the way, our bully threatened us, so we got the first ticket out of Ohio, hopped on the train to go after them. I don't think they were prepared for me committing to the bit of tearing their head off and using it as a footstool, but I digress. On our way to his front door, we are given our third and final rune that I will be equipping for this run. The rest involve different things that I can't do for the challenge. A lot of them are involving with glory kills, but this one increases my movement while I'm in the air. Kind of useless, but it's the last one I can use, and I'm going to equip it to get as much benefit as I can during this challenge. While we talk about the acquisition of my rune, let's go over the most important suit upgrades that I will be getting, because I got enough points for them. Most of the upgrades are things like grenades or different equipment that you have, but there is an environmental section in this upgrade wheel. The most important upgrades I can get are the ones where explosive barrels drop ammo when blown up, the barrels can respawn once per kill room, and also making me immune to the explosive damage. So I now have all of the possible ways to resupply ammo for this run: finding it on the ground, opening up demons with my chainsaw, and blowing up barrels either with a gun blast or with my fists. This was perfectly timed too, as we are at our first boss of the game. Unlike 2016, this game has lower leveled enemies fighting you when you're fighting the boss. Not terrible, as I could always use the ammo refill, but just very annoying because they keep taking the grenades that I'm supposed to be hitting the boss with when I need to maximize the damage output on the boss. A few things of note while I'm talking about this fight and this boss in particular. First, the blue aura you see around the boss is supposed to be blasted away by a plasma weapon, similar to the concept of the shielded enemies if you're playing a casual playthrough of this game. Secondly, the boss has 2 phases. One where he's a bit slower, and the other where he drops his big metal base and becomes a speed demon, both in the metaphorical and literal sense. Both are terrible to deal with only the shotgun. However, that isn't the worst part. Immediately after killing the first hunter, I am forced to fight 2 more of them in the next room. Later in the game, they become regular enemies, filling up a spot or 2 in a kill room, but here they are treated as bosses, and this is where I end up using most of my extra lives. I started with 5 and I ended with 1 during this fight. I really hope the fact that I need to have a stockpile of extra lives doesn't really come back to bite me in the ass for future boss fights, but I have no idea. With his guard dog taken care of, I'm able to seek divine retribution for all those years in secondary school where I couldn't walk the halls without being shoved into a locker. Now there is little to stop me from tearing out the throat of Dave. He was the worst of the 3 bullies, so much so that the other 2 didn't have names, and now he has one because I hate him so much. But first, I need to do one thing of preparation work by maxing out my ammo capacity. After this, I just find which upgrade boon I would need more rather than just looking for armor or ammo specifically. With my pockets now full of bullets, I am able to blow up the biggest demon nest to bring out Dave from hiding. I picked up the doctor from the first game because my current therapist is telling me things that I don't really believe in, I don't fall in line with, and I want to hear more about revenge and killing people. And this guy tells me exactly what I want to hear. Surround yourself with people you want to hear what you want to hear from, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, he has another patient that really needs his services. I tell him to politely wait his turn, and he gets very pissed and starts throwing hands. This is the second boss fight of the game in my opinion. He doesn't have the boss health bar, but he is a significantly difficult fight for right now, and he only gets worse in the future, so I would consider him a mini-boss of sorts. I legitimately thought that this was going to be the wall of the run, be the end of it all, but fortunately it didn't happen, and I didn't even use an extra life in this fight. Before us stands the Marauder. He's fast, he has a shield he brings up to deflect our grenades, and he summons Hellhounds to help him in the fight. Normally, the way to deal with this guy is to shoot him with the super shotgun when his eyes glow green to stun him and deal extra damage. Unfortunately, I cannot use the super shotgun, so I have to find a different way to beat him, which is basically the same concept, just with less firepower. When his eyes turn green, he won't bring up his shield when you shoot a grenade at him, so that's kind of the only window that I have. He might also take residual splash damage if I shoot a grenade at the ground around him and it explodes, but he moves around too much for me to be able to figure that out effectively. He also doesn't have a health bar, so I can't tell if that actually hits him, but I'm just assuming that it works, and we're just going from there. Thankfully, the dogs that he summoned are annoying, but they can go down in a shot or two of the regular shotgun without a grenade, so I don't really have to wait for the grenades to recharge if I shoot them versus shooting him. But like I said before, he doesn't have a health bar, but he was definitely a roadblock. I didn't have to do a glory kill to consider the encounter over, which is a nice thing, doesn't break one of the rules, and I was just worried that this was going to be the end of the run. I thought that it was going to be like a 3-hour thing. I hit this, can't do it, and then I end it. So it was nice to know that I could still continue on, even though it doesn't get any better than this. After this fight, I'm told Dave's hiding out on Mars, and I am told that there's really no known path to get there, or at least no easy way to get there, but they clearly don't understand that I don't take no for an answer. I find the biggest gun that I can, which is the BFG 10,000, and start making plans. On my way to that big gun, I get the final Arachnotron turret destroyed, so now I can fire off 5 sticky bombs without having to reload as opposed to 3. As you can see in the time bar of the video, I wasn't able to experience this joy for as long as I would have liked, but this did help when I got it. With this upgrade, I'm able to make my way into the cockpit of the big gun and take aim at Mars. With a single press of the trigger, I am able to shoot a hole into the planet and go right down to the core where Dave is hiding. I also take this big gun for safekeeping, because what are the scientists going to do with it? I won't be able to use it for this challenge, but at least I could say that I carry the biggest stick. If you don't understand that reference, it's a Theodore Roosevelt speak softly and carry a big stick, mainly because Doom God doesn't talk at all, but that's beside the point. There's no really easy way to say the next part, so I'll just say it. I become a bullet. I load myself up into a gun and shoot myself onto Mars to hunt for Dave. Once I reach the surface of Mars, I'm reminded of where I came from and what I turned into because of those 3. When I come to, I'm greeted by Dave's dumb face, and he goes on for way too long with his speech, but before I'm able to tear his throat out and shut him up, he sicks his pet Minotaur on me. The Minotaur fight is similar to the Marauder fight, where he has a shield up and only opens himself up to attacks at certain times. In those times, you're supposed to shoot him with the super shotgun to stun him and unload more bullets into him. Again, I don't have that luxury, but thankfully I can see that the little bits of splash damage that I shoot behind the shield and when they explode do in fact hurt him. Similar to the first boss we fought, this fight has 2 phases, the slower phase and the faster phase. The main difference in this one is that my grenades get bounced away when he blocks them in this form, as opposed to just exploding on impact and dealing no damage when he had the shield. After way too many explosives, I take out the Minotaur and can exact my revenge against Dave. Dave's mother, not too happy about that, so she shut down my ship's power and sent her minions after me. Thankfully, she can't take away my guns, so I'm able to kill the few enemies that are around me and repower up my ship. Angry for revenge against the woman who tried to take away my toys, I start my way to her front door. Unfortunately, she has a few guard dogs in the way. I know I save my chainsaw uses for the smaller enemies so I don't just spam it on larger enemies, but this is the one instance where I have to use it against a larger enemy in order for me to continue the run. I have 2 shots of ammo before cutting down the only small enemy in the area. I am not able to get more enemies to spawn unless I kill more of the larger enemies, so this is one instance I will use my chainsaw to get rid of a larger enemy, and continue on to power up my fancy space sword. Unfortunately, this is the end of the challenge for me. I'm forced into a large kill room after powering it up, and there are just too many enemies. I have 1 extra life at this point in the challenge, and I'm sure that if I got more, I could survive and continue with the challenge, but this isn't the only reason why I can't finish this room. There are too many heavy enemies, and most of them rush you. They are mostly expected to be killed by the one-shot kill sword as that ammo is littered around the room. These heavy enemies charge you and don't even allow you to get a breath in between your shots. You have to figure out how to move and what to do while getting attacked. Then we have the summoner that spawns enhanced versions of the heavy enemies. And if I try to get into a position that is able to shoot the summoner, he teleports away and I'm charged by even more angry enemies. So unfortunately, no, I did not beat Doom Eternal with only the combat shotgun. I know other people have attempted this challenge and possibly beaten it, so feel free to check them out and see how the game ends if they only use the combat shotgun. But do I recommend this challenge? Yes, absolutely. This is a significantly better starter weapon than Doom 2016, like I mentioned before. The only difficult part of this game compared to the first one is the way damage seems to work. In the first game, you had 1 life. Run out of health, you have to restart for your last checkpoint. In this game, you have extra lives, so you get multiple chances to beat every level. It seems like they want you to take more hits, which means that it's just expected that if you don't have enough lives to get through a section, you have to reset the level after collecting more and hope you don't lose all of them on the way to that part that you needed them for. Finally, if you like this challenge run and want to see more videos like this, feel free to check out the playlist popping up on screen. And if you have any ideas for future challenge runs on games that I may or may not have already made videos about, please let me know down in the comments or follow the Google form link that I have in the description. Sorry about the possible background noise. It's really windy and really crappy weather outside. Anyways, the next video I will be making will be a tribute to Mitten Squad. He was a fantastic content creator and one of the reasons why I started this. It's going to be in Fallout 4. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm going to legitimately take my time. It might take months, probably 3 months at most, depending on how everything works. But I'm going to take my time on this video because this is me tributing someone that I took a lot of inspiration from. Him and Nurbit, those are 2 people that I've really taken a lot of inspiration from, and I will be doing a tribute for Mitten Squad. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your eyeballs. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all later.